The feed for this streaming event brought to you by adminmonitor.com.
Participation hearing where we will take public input on potential decarbonization zones related to the Commission's proceeding to establish policies, processes, and rules to ensure safe and system reliable gas systems in California and perform long-term gas planning. Today's conference is being recorded. I will now turn the call over to Judge Perchia. Thank you. You may go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Can the court reporter please confirm that you're ready to go?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you so much. We will now be on the record. Good afternoon, everyone. The Commission will come to order. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025 at 2:01 p.m. And this is the remote public participation hearing for the Commission and gas utilities to receive public comment on potential decarbonization zones related to the Commission's larger order instituting rulemaking to establish policies, processes, and rules to ensure safe and reliable gas systems in California and perform long-term gas system planning. The proceeding number is R2409012. My name is Robin Perchia, and I am one of two administrative law judges assigned to this proceeding. We are joined today by Commissioner Karen Douglas, who is the assigned commissioner for this proceeding. We'll hear from Commissioner Douglas later in this public participation hearing. We are also joined by another commissioner, Darcy Hauk, who will also make some remarks. The judges and the commissioners will be paying careful attention to the comments provided today. Additionally, a court reporter will transcribe everything that is said today into a written transcript, which will be filed on the docket for this proceeding, which is public. For those who intend to speak, please call the number on your screen and then press star and 1 on your phone to be placed in line. After pressing star 1, you will be prompted for your name and location. If you are an elected official, we'd appreciate it if you could provide the information when you begin to speak. If you are a party to the proceeding, this public participation hearing is not the venue for you to provide input. The point for this public participation hearing is to hear from members of the public who are not participating in the proceeding. Members of the public may decide to speak at any time before we end the forum to speak, simply by pressing star 1. The audio and visual feed of this hearing is being recorded and is also accessible on the CPUC website. If you do not wish to be recorded, please do not provide public comment. Before we start, we would like to give you a brief overview of what the California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC, is, what we do, and then provide a brief overview of this rulemaking. The CPUC is the state agency that regulates privately owned utilities that provide essential services such as electricity, gas, and water. There are 5 commissioners at the CPUC, including Commissioner Douglas. My responsibility is to manage the day-to-day activities of this case and to help Commissioner Douglas evaluate all of the documentation and information received in this proceeding, including your input. I am assisted by staff from the Gas Policy and Reliability Branch of the Commission's Energy Division and the Commission's Legal Division. Commissioner Douglas will issue a proposed decision for the commissioners to consider. The 5 commissioners are ultimately the ones who will decide and vote on whether to approve the proposed decision. Each piece of information on which the decision is based is listed and available for you to review on a commission webpage we call the docket card. In fact, your comments today will also be listed and published on the docket card because our court reporters are transcribing today's hearing, taking down everything that is said. Today's transcript will be available on the docket card. I thank you for spending your time with us today. The purpose of today's hearing is to hear directly from gas utility customers and members of the public about the designation of priority neighborhood decarbonization zones. Decarbonization zones are geographic areas where the CPUC may authorize the transition of some customers' natural gas service to cost-effective, zero-emission alternatives, provided that 67% of property owners with natural gas service agree. Zero-emission alternatives are ways of providing gas customers with suitable substitute energy services that do not require new investment in gas distribution lines, such as, but not limited to, electrification. The CPUC's work on this issue is being conducted as part of the Commission's order instituting rulemaking to advance long-term gas transition planning work and act on opportunities to establish policies, processes, and rules to ensure safe and reliable gas systems in California and perform long-term gas system planning. The CPUC is also working under the legislative direction described in Senate Bill 1221, which authorizes the CPUC to approve up to 30 pilot projects to facilitate zero-emission alternatives as a full replacement for natural gas service. Projects must demonstrate that the total cost of the alternative is less than the cost of replacing the gas pipeline, and non-ratepayer funds must be used when available. The CPUC will only approve projects in designated priority neighborhood decarbonization zones, and then, as stated previously, only when they receive consent from at least 67% of property owners with natural gas service in the project boundary area. Projects must also prioritize benefits for disadvantaged and low-income communities, tenant protections, and high-quality jobs for workers. If a project is approved, the CPUC will relieve the gas utility of its obligation to provide natural gas service to the project area to be replaced with a substitute energy service. I've provided a very high-level overview. If you'd like more details about the rulemaking, a fact sheet is available at www.cpuc.ca.gov/pph. Now we will hear from Commissioner Douglas.
Very good. Good afternoon, and thank you so much, Judge Prochia. I'm Karen Douglas, assigned commissioner on this proceeding, and I want to thank everybody who is taking time to participate today in today's public forum. I also wanted to note that we will be joined very shortly by Commissioner Darcy Houck, who is the assigned commissioner on the building decarbonization proceeding and also very interested in this topic. These public forums are an important way for the Commission to hear directly from members of the public, local governments, and representatives of organizations active in this space. The feedback of members of the public in these public forums gives us valuable insights about concerns and priorities directly from utility customers that help inform our thinking and our decision making. As Judge Prochia noted, today we're particularly interested and putting forward the topic of the designation of priority neighborhood decarbonization zones. Before I hand this back to the judges, I want to thank our team who has been working hard behind the scenes to put this public participation hearing together, including our Public Advisor's Office, our IT staff, and court reporters, and of course our Energy Division staff and judges Prochia and Van Dyken. Thank you again for your participation today. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of the speakers. Thank you, and back to you, Judge Prochia.
Thank you, Commissioner Douglas. I believe we're still waiting for Commissioner Houck to join, so I will continue to go through the public comment instructions, and we'll see if she's ready to provide some remarks after that. So soon we will turn to the public. If you want to speak, please call 1-800-857-1917 and enter passcode 6032788#. Then you must press *1 on your phone. As a reminder, this is not the appropriate venue for gas utility customers and members of the, this is not the appropriate venue for parties to the proceeding to provide input. This is a venue for gas utility customers and members of the public who are not parties to the proceeding to talk to us directly about the designation of priority neighborhood decarbonization zones. Please provide your name when prompted. If you are a public official, state your title and position in addition to your name. Please refer to the slide on the screen. The court reporters are transcribing everything that is said in our hearing today. The reporters have a difficult job, so when it is your time to speak, we ask that you speak slowly and clearly so that the court reporter can capture everything you say. To ensure we have an accurate record, it may be necessary for the court reporter or me to ask a speaker to repeat themselves if something is not comprehensible. We ask that you state and spell your name, and if you'd like, the city you are calling from. Again, you may decide at any time before we end the forum to speak simply by pressing *1. Each speaker will have a time limit of 2 minutes. A chime will be sounded when the 2 minutes is up. We will be able to hear you most clearly if you speak directly into your phone or headset. It is best not to use speakerphone. It is important to mention that this is not the time and place to ask questions about your individual bills or service. If you have questions about your individual bills or service, I encourage you to contact your utility company, or you may contact the CPUC Consumer Affairs branch at 1-800-649-7570 for billing issues. You do not want to disclose your individual phone number or residence address since this proceeding is open to the public and is being recorded. If you do not wish to speak publicly today, but would still like to comment on this proceeding, you may submit written comment on the docket card. The link to the docket card was also in the notice you received about this hearing, but it included an extra space. The correct link is appuc.cpuc.gov/C/R2409012 without any spaces. It is also visible on the slide that is up. I will repeat this web address at the conclusion of the hearing. It is also important to note that we will not be answering questions about the proceeding at today's hearing. We are here to listen to your comments. I believe Commissioner Houck is still on her way to join us, so we will turn now to public comment.
Thank you. The public.
Operator, are there any public officials on the line?
As of yet, no, but the public comment line is now open. If you wish to make a comment, please unmute your phone and record your first and last name slowly and clearly so I may introduce you. Our first caller is Sue Lehman. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I live in the Southwest Bakersfield, and I really am speaking against the decarbonization and they're trying to get rid of natural gas. It's actually much cleaner. It's much less costly. The CO2 that comes from some of that stuff is not all that dangerous in the atmosphere, even though we get told that it is. And I think it's a poor management of critical energy supplies. California has the highest inflation, the highest taxes, the highest gas prices, the most regulations, the most expensive utilities, and ranks the third worst state in the country to start a business. So we don't need to make that even worse. The cost of living here is about 40% higher than the national average, and the cost of housing is 97% higher. So and my electric bill has doubled, even though I have cut back, and it's the electric part of it that has doubled. And I live on a fixed income. So to take away clean energy, less costly energy, to insert supposed renewable energy that does not really work and cannot work at all times, and is actually much more costly in the end result, I think is a very, very poor decision for the state of California. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Monica Alamada. You may go ahead. Again, Monica Alamada, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I wanted to say that this massive tax dollar wasting infrastructure reform is based on the false premise that CO2 greenhouse emissions cause climate change, and it is based on decarbonization efforts. Please keep in mind that the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is aiming to eliminate the 2009 endangerment finding, blasting the Obama administration for twisting the Clean Air Act by declaring CO2 a threat to the public health without specifying its impact. Zeldin points out how this decision restores sanity to environmental policy, focusing on practical protections rather than what he termed pseudoscientific rules, and he's now challenging green mandates. I am opposing this project because it is founded on pseudoscience, which conveniently serves the financial interests and agendas of all private corporations involved in this project. The public knows that climate change is a scam and a conspiracy for financial gain by these private corporations. It is egregious to follow a bill passed by Brown in 2018 after the rise of new and old suppressed scientific evidence that show that carbon emissions do not cause planet warming and or climate change. What causes severe climate change are the irresponsible and highly toxic weather modification programs still in effect in California until 2027. That's the big fat elephant in the room, and we need to look at it. We demand that you immediately update your records on the most current scientific evidence that reveals that carbon emissions do not cause climate change. Carbon dioxide is a life-giving gas that makes our environment greener, healthier, and lush. The corporations that modify the weather, spraying us like lab rats, cause climate change. Your efforts must be focused on them, on stopping them. It is because of this endangerment finding that they started regulating the heck out of vehicles, stationary sources, airplanes, and now our safe and affordable natural gas. So all of the corporations involved in this attempt to defraud the public using pseudoscience for their own financial gains are now put on notice that we do not consent and that you would be violating the law and the UCC codes by pursuing this over our objections. They, including the California Corporation, and its involved agencies, are acting in commerce, and they must have our consent to act. You do not have our consent. Dr. Bernard Eastland is a plasma physicist. He describes in this he's involved in HARP and the design of powerful weapons that cause natural disasters.
Thank you, Ms. Alameda. We're going to keep comments to 2 minutes so we can have a chance to hear from everyone. Thank
you.
Thank you, operator. Let's please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Marcia Hanscom with Defend Bayona Wetlands. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
Great, thank you. Marcia Hanscom with Defend Bayona Wetlands. I'm coming to you from the Los Angeles coast, which is occupied lands of the Shoshone-Gabrielino Nation. And I want to say that it's shocking to me to hear some of these comments that are not from genuine science. And as most of you on the staff, I hope, know, the scientists have been saying more and more, increasing over the last few years, that one of the biggest contributors to climate change impacts is from fossil gas. Some people call it natural gas. Well, that was a PR move on behalf of SoCal Gas, etc. And it is fossil gas, just like we have fossil oil. And this is, one of the things that is not well known is that there is fracked gas being transported by pipeline from other states into California, coming all the way to Aliso Canyon and Playa del Rey, and then injected under very high pressure a mile beneath the surface of the soil. And here in Playa del Rey, that gas is primarily used for commercial customers. It's not even for residential customers. It is primarily for Chevron, for Torrance Refinery, for the fossil oil refineries that we are supposed to be, according to our own state policies, trying to wean ourselves off of. And we know what genuine renewable energy is. It is not using more fossil gas. It is not using hydrogen that requires 70% fossil gas mixed in with it in order for the hydrogen to even work to power up the electricity plants. It's solar, it's wind, it's getting solar rooftops. I plead with the CPUC to be moving in that direction and closing down Playa del Rey's fossil gas storage facility, which is right underneath the only state ecological reserve in Los Angeles County at the Ballena Wetlands. So please close it down. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Steve Bridge, a Lompoc City Councilman. You may go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call. I'm calling about a specific plot, which, if I read the map correctly, is across the old town of Lompoc. Lompoc is a relatively disadvantaged community, and that area that you're identifying is mainly older businesses, and they will not have the economic wherewithal to replace all their stoves and kitchens and things of that nature. In addition, the city itself will not be able to service that increase in electricity demand. Transformers take years to replace, and a lot of the phasing of the electricity won't match what's being implied in this plan. So it's an honorable effort you're going under, but I think you need to take a little bit more time on that particular plot that you're identifying, because you will take an economically disadvantaged community and probably bankrupt it. And I'm sure that's not the intent of what you're attempting to do. And should you want to have more detailed conversations of it, or have your engineers get with us, I'm sure we could go over and show you the constraints that I'm trying to identify, and perhaps find an alternate location for your plan. But that section of the city that you've identified, it would completely economically destroy it as to what you're suggesting, and I'm sure that's not your intent. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Operator, could you call on the next caller?
Yes, our next caller is Edward Victory from Lancaster. You may go ahead.
Yes, hello. My name is Edward Victory. I'm a Southern California gas customer. I'm a resident of California for 46 years. I had a question about and comment about your Senate Bill 1221. In it, it says if natural gas only accounts for 10% of the greenhouse gases, why are you trying to do away with natural gas in California? I see a lot of these greenhouse gas conditions and positions that government takes sometimes is more or less of a power play, and it's not so much about greenhouse gases, which a lot of the studies have been suspect of being politicized. Anyway, I'd like the commission to look into that. According to your own Senate Bill 1221, the greenhouse gases or natural gas is only 10% of your. Why would you try and do away with it? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Victory. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Ed Fisher. You may go ahead. Again, Ed Fisher, your line is open. We are not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Excellent, thank you. I just wanted to provide a short comment that I strongly support the decarbonization zones as natural or fossil gas is carcinogenic and contributes to climate chaos. So it's something that phasing out, to say the least, would be a good thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Adam Russ. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First of all, I want to point out that the CPUC is an unelected and unaccountable to the people body, and I want to put you on notice that you're now engaging in a pseudo-scientific fraud, a provable pseudo-scientific fraud. I doubt that the commission actually wants to listen to the public, but decarbonization, this idea is all based on scientific fraud. And I'd like to point out that the global warming alarmists like to say that 97% of scientists agree with this, that, or the other. But the truth is that 97% of scientists agree with whoever is giving them grant money to do their studies. Climate change is nothing more than a giant money-making scheme and a power grab by certain elites, which I call the parasite class. This is all based from the original fraud, which was exposed during the ClimateGate scandal. And ClimateGate exposed that scientists were indeed fudging the numbers according to their own emails that were released to the world. So the entire field of so-called climate change is based on provable false information, which of course I can't get into here on a short 2 minutes. However, it can be presented, a very strong scientific case can be presented that this is in fact fraud. So this plan would cost California residents huge amounts of money, which we can ill afford, and I oppose this decarbonization in the strongest possible terms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Tim McCrae, California Hydrogen Business Council. You may go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, but California Hydrogen Business Council is a party to this proceeding, and we would like to hear from the public and not parties.
Okay, so you prefer us to not give comment then?
We would prefer the parties participate in the proceeding and not give comment at the public participation hearing. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. Take care.
Thank you. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is June Paxton. You may go ahead.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. It's just, you can't tell on the phone whether you can hear yourself or not. So, I live in California City, and it's designated in the area, a targeted area. I have to admit that I didn't completely understand the maps. I reviewed a lot of the information associated that was sent out from Southern California Edison. But the comments that I want to make is it seems like the studies that have been done in urban areas, and note that there's problems in urban areas, which would make a lot of sense because of the concentration of people in those areas. But the areas targeted for this pilot are rural areas. And I'd like to understand whether studies were done in rural areas to see if it's a problem. And if not, then I'd have to question what is the intent of the pilot and how would the results be evaluated if, in fact, you're going to compare them with an urban area. I did check into solar for myself some years back, maybe within the last 5 years, and to put solar on my house and a battery backup, which would be necessary to get the benefit of solar all night long, was going to be $35,000. And since the life cycle of a household solar system is about 20 years, given my utility bills, I would never recover that cost. That didn't include, based on this meeting, replacement of my gas appliances with electrical appliances. Again, the areas that are being targeted are rural areas, and those areas tend to be lower income than the urban areas. And I did see in the Senate bill information that the primary supporters of this initiative are in the urban areas. So my other question is, why are you not rewarding those people with the opportunity to be part of the pilot program that they want to have so badly? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Paxton. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Richard Frankhusen. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Hello, and thank you for taking the call. I'm Richard Frankhusen. I'm a retired engineer, therefore living on a fixed income. In my particular case, replacing my water heater, furnace, stovetop, oven combo, fireplace, and dryer would cost over $40,000, or between $20,000 and $40,000 if you include installation. This is an unreasonable financial demand for something that is not actually necessary. So I oppose the elimination of gas services. Also, electrical appliances are not zero emission. It is a transfer of where the emissions are made. So it's a false claim to say that electrical appliances are zero emission. You're just transferring where the electricity is produced, which all electricity produced is not green. In fact, even wind is not completely green because there's quite a carbon footprint to build the wind turbines. So I oppose this degasification, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frankhausen. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Joby Bernstein. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon, commissioners and staff. My name is Joby Bernstein, and I'm a Bay Area resident. California's goal of carbon neutrality by 2045 is ambitious, but the pace of gas system decarbonization must match the urgency of the climate crisis. Today, I urge the Commission to move swiftly and decisively in implementing SB 1221. We already know that electrification is a cost-effective and emissions-reducing alternative to pipeline replacement in many communities. The pilot projects authorized under SB 1221 are a critical step, but today we cannot afford delays. I respectfully ask the Commission to focus on 4 things. Number 1, accelerate the timeline for pilot project selection and launch. Number 2, prioritize zones with demonstrated community readiness, where local governments and organizations are already mobilizing to support electrification. Number 3, streamline the regulatory process to reduce barriers for utilities and partners. and if possible, lower the 2/3 barrier. And number 4, continue to clarify cost recovery mechanisms so that early investments in outreach and infrastructure are not penalized, but incentivized. Electrification is not just a climate imperative, it's a public health and affordability issue. So let's move efficiently and boldly to get the work done in California. Thank you for your time and for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Bernstein. Operator, please call on our next speaker.
Our next speaker is Ricky Williams with the San Diego County Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice. You may go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Ricky Williams, the Regional Decarbonization Program Manager with the County of San Diego's Office of Sustainability and Environmental Justice. We appreciate this opportunity and its ability to support the county's commitment to work in partnership with communities and public, private, and civic organizations to achieve our goals for zero carbon emissions region-wide by mid-century. Pilot prioritization should reflect local government sustainability, climate action, and environmental justice goals, and should emphasize the need for a range of pilots that are reflective of the diverse climates, geographies, and populations of our region and the state. First, cost and cohesive implementation are the two most significant challenges for decarbonizing existing homes that we've seen through other sustainability actions, such as electric vehicle charging. We see faster adoption in affluent communities. The fragmented approaches could exacerbate inequities for those without the resources to electrify. We look forward to seeing additional guidance from the CPUC to understand how utility infrastructure cost savings would be used and how they would consider reducing first costs to homeowners. The maps provided by the utilities identifying foreseeable pipeline replacement projects should be used for neighborhood decarbonization zone prioritization because they provide opportunities for exploration of pilots in diverse areas. Areas that are disadvantaged or low income or similarly designated by local government agencies should be prioritized in neighborhood decarbonization zones given the disproportionate impact of climate change on underserved communities. We also encourage the CPUC to provide clear guidance for utilities to coordinate with local cities, counties, coalitions, air districts, and community organizations regarding measures for identifying segments of our communities that would most benefit from this additional aid. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Operator, please call on our next speaker.
Our next caller is Soleim Marietta. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Thank you. I live in Marietta, and I'm calling as a private citizen, but I also am the executive director for Concerned Citizens of California, and we strongly oppose the forced switch of commercial and residential gas use to electricity that is, trying to be implemented under SB 1221 for a couple reasons. First and foremost, the infrastructure for the electrical grid is insufficient to accommodate all the new requirements that would be forced upon the grid. A classic example of that would be the transformer that blew up that helped contribute to the Palisades and fire and Altadena fire. We do not have infrastructure readily available to, have a massive onslaught of extra usage. Number two, to put a fine point on the cost, for those who haven't done the research, anywhere from a minimum cost of $4,500 to, as the prior engineer had testified to, up to $50,000 per unit, whether it's a home, an apartment, a condo, a commercial installation. That is untenable. I don't know anybody, and in particular, retirees on fixed incomes and people that are on minimum wage. How are they going to be able to afford that? Relative to the decarbonization and climate change, for those who don't have volcanologist friends, every day, literally between 32 and 45 volcanoes are either spewing or exploding, the latest of which is the volcano in the Kamchatka, Russia region that's across from Alaska that precipitated the 8.8 earthquake that did the tsunamis, etc. Those largely contributed to all the things that are adversely affecting the air. But going back to the decarbonization thing, we strongly oppose this and find that it is inequitable, especially for those people that are of low income, which, by the way, would be getting all of these things, I presume, for free in between the lines on SB 1221. Thank you very much for considering this. Again, the infrastructure is insufficient to accommodate this in a perfect world. California would pay 100% for this and allow the swap outs of everything, but it is untenable and unaffordable. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Operator, please call in the next speaker.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Would you please state your name? I didn't catch it when the operator said it.
Sure. My name is Johanna Antelmi. I'm also a private citizen, and I'd like to note for those other private citizens on the line that be worried that some of the voices that you heard on this call are clearly paid actors and part of the electric companies, and you should be very, very wary of the propaganda that they're putting out. But this is pretty simple. I am against electrification, and electrification is not more efficient than natural gas. This is very clear. The energy needed to support such an infrastructure would not only bloat our already struggling infrastructure, but would raise energy prices for all citizens in the area. And it would also lead to more carbon emissions. It's not like this energy is going to be coming from solar panels or wind farms. This comes from burning more fossil fuels. So, to me, as a private citizen, and I'm sure many others agree on this, this is clearly a scam on part of electric companies just to squeeze more money out of the public. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Operator, please call in the next speaker.
Should go with the one with.
Hello, who's on the line? Hi, do we have someone on the line?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I'm on the line. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I didn't get a notification that I was on the line. Yeah, I really like my...
Your name, please?
Oh, yeah. Giuseppe Dagliore from Costa Mesa, California. I really like my gas appliances. I don't want to get rid of them. They work far better than electrical appliances. I've lived in a lot of places in California. I've had electrical appliances. I've compared them to the gas appliances, and gas appliances are head and shoulders above, more efficient in terms of actual use than anything electric I have ever used. So I am absolutely opposed to changing. I also believe, to decarbonization, sorry. I also believe that choice is better than less choice. More choice is better than less choice. So if people want to be on the electric grid, you should give them the choice to do so. If they do not want to, if they want to be on a gas grid, they should be allowed to have that choice. I think that this whole climate change nonsense is exactly that. I think it's a scam, and I believe that it is a scam actually by the California government to try and raise our taxes indirectly by having us pay more for electricity and power because natural gas is cheaper and more efficient. So you pay less for energy, less of that percentage goes to taxes, the government collects less on taxes. And so now they want us to switch to a less efficient form of energy in the form of electricity so that everybody has to pay more. We are already the third most expensive state in the nation for electricity. They want us to pay even more than we're currently paying so that they can get a bigger cut, and I'm fully opposed to it. I think the government should absolutely get out of the energy sector. They should not be trying to decarbonize anything. They are bad at the DNV. They are bad at everything else they try to do, and so I do not think that them try to save the world from some climate change hocus pocus is going to be effective or good for the community. So no decarbonization, please, and that is my statement.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, please call on the next speaker. Hi, do we have someone on the line?
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Hi.
Would you mind just saying your name?
Thank you. Okay, my name is Kathy Rawlings, and I am an elected official, but I'm not here speaking on behalf of my organization. I am a school board member in Carlsbad Unified. But I am speaking on my own behalf, not on behalf of the organization. I just wanted to say that we have committed, our district has committed to electrifying, and 3 other districts in San Diego County have also agreed to electrify voluntarily. And we understand that that's not going to happen overnight, but we do understand that that climate change is impacting our schools, our communities, and for those folks that don't believe in climate change, they need to understand that their insurance companies do. Our insurance has gone up 3 times in this area over the last 5 years due to the impacts of climate change. And we believe as a school district that we can do our part to electrify. We understand it's not going to happen overnight, but the incentives that are built into the Senate bill redirects funding from improving gas lines to electrification and decarbonization. And many of these school districts have either committed or do already have solar panels, and you can't get gas out of solar panels. You can only get electricity. So it's a way of maximizing our investment, and it's also allowing these communities to move forward without these additional costs. This is a pilot program, so what I'm asking the CPUC to do is to include in their guidance to ask SDG&E to provide informational meetings. I do support the pilot as for decarbonization and to redirect those funds. I think it's important that the CPUC really provide strong guidance, not just voluntary guidance, but we really need to take action to address the emergency that we are in. We can't continue to look back on old infrastructure, old ways of gaining energy. Solar and wind is much cheaper as well as cleaner, and it is a way for all communities, but especially these pilot communities, to move forward and to decarbonize and to address the climate emergency that we are facing today. So I appreciate your time, and I do hope that you do move forward on this. Not only would it help the neighborhoods, but these school districts that are electrifying in San Diego County, and there's going to be many more in the next few months, this would be a great way to redirect those funds and help the districts move faster in their electrification efforts. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Nicholas Gonzalez. You may go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Yes, my name is Nicholas Gonzalez. I am a resident and a business owner in the city of Lompoc, a minority-majority community. I am calling in opposition to the decarbonization. I am also a rental housing provider. I am very much concerned because within our community, our electrical rates have increased 4-fold over the last 5 years, much more of an accelerated rate than the natural gas has. Although you have taken in consideration infrastructure of the pipeline, what you failed to take into consideration is the individual costs that will occur, especially in apartments that are serving the lower income residents of this community, because it will require major infrastructure change to an infrastructure system that does not yet exist. We previously had our council member discuss the fact that we're on an aged system. And so not only as a housing provider would I have to do major renovations, I possibly would have to displace tenants to do those renovations. In addition, I own a business, and my ability to transfer an electrical system for things such as heating would be economically prohibitive to me based on the actual rates that I experience now for electrical versus natural gas. Our minority majority community of color, this would be very unequitable to this community because it would cause significant increase in housing costs and in business costs, and I would like the Commission to reconsider this action in areas where the economic impacts are going to have an unequitable, disproportionate impact on minority communities.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, please call on the next speaker.
Our next caller is Christopher Deanne. You may go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Christopher Dan, I'm a private citizen, live in Sausalito. Affordable and reliable energy is essential for modern society. Our health and economic well-being depend on it, and our jobs depend on it. Natural gas infrastructure is critical to ensuring the reliability and affordability of energy for all Californians. Natural gas infrastructure is essential for reliability. When electric supply is stretched during heat waves, cold snaps, or wildfire-related outages, the gas system remains dependable. Gas provides firm energy that doesn't depend on weather or time of day. It powers generators that stabilize the grid in real time and fuels millions of homes and businesses with steady, always available energy. In emergencies, hospitals, first responders, and vulnerable residents rely on gas for heating, hot water, and cooking. Gas infrastructure keeps energy affordable. Fortunately, in California, we have access to plentiful and cheap natural gas. California already has some of the highest electricity rates in the nation, and further stress on the electric grid risks driving costs even higher. Gas infrastructure provides a cost-effective alternative and a vital hedge against overloading the electric system. It offers customers flexibility, choice, and it protects ratepayers from unnecessary infrastructure duplication and skyrocketing bills. Electrifying may be a long-term vision, but the path there will take decades, and electric reliability challenges are growing today. California's electricity grid is one of the most expensive in the world, and our reliability is among the worst in the country. Gas infrastructure provides critical balance and insurance against power disruptions. Without it, the state risks blackouts, higher prices, and energy insecurity. In short, gas infrastructure is not a relic of the past. It is a backbone of reliability today and a shield against rising energy costs. California's energy strategy must include continued investment in this essential system to ensure that no resident is left in the dark. Finally, climate change is a global problem. Whatever the merits of decarbonization, decarbonizing California will have absolutely no impact on this global phenomenon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dan. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is David Reinerson. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Thank you. I will try to be brief. While I am basically in favor of decarbonization, I do think we have a climate emergency. I do think the other things that need to be taken into account is the cost of conversion of appliances and the cost of electricity. As you know, as I've commented a number of times, California has, I believe, the second highest electricity rates in the entire country, and they have tripled in the last 20 years, and I believe that is due to improper regulation of the industrial utilities. So while decarbonization is a great goal, and I'm in favor of having some of these pilot projects, I think you also have to make sure that they remain affordable for the communities that are being impacted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ryerson. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Richard Wirt. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Thank you. My name is Richard Wirt. I'm a landlord. I own three fourplexes and one triplex in Southern California. At the present time, those buildings were built in 1970 and 1980. They have gas ranges, gas water heaters, and gas furnaces. There is no 220-volt circuits in the buildings. If Senate Bill 1221 is adopted, the first thing that will happen is I'll have to evict 4 families out of each one of the fourplexes. I'll have to hire a plumber, electrician, a carpenter, and a painter. They will in turn have to go to the city and pull permits. Once the city has the permits and approve them, my electrician can get started by replacing all of the electrical panels, because at this time, those panels do not have 220 circuits in them. I will have a carpenter come and open up the walls to do the rewiring of the building. The water heaters can be removed by a plumber and disposed of in our local landfills. After this is done, the inspection process can be completed after the wiring is done, and the walls can be repainted and repaired. Final inspection can be done at this time. As a review of the cost of this, there are 4 units in each one of those. The total cost for the equipment alone is $41,000. Permits run $750. To upgrade the panels would be $4,000. To run the electrical lines is $3,200. And the total comes to $59,000. At this point, Edison cannot supply enough power. I'm already seeing peak pricing periods, and therefore I'm totally opposed to this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Christian Hoffland from Santa Barbara. You may go ahead. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Hoffland, a building and vehicle decarbonization analyst for the city of Santa Barbara. On behalf of Jefferson Litton, the Energy and Climate Division Manager of the city's Sustainability and Resilience Department, the city of Santa Barbara pledges its support for SB 1221 and expresses our interest in being included as a potential partner under consideration for SB 1221 decarbonization zone location. The functional equivalent of decarbonization zones are called out in both the city's Climate Action Plan adopted in 2024 and our Strategic Energy Plan adopted in 2019. Climate Action Plan measures specifically addressing this include BE 5.19, adopt natural gas end-of-flow date by 2040, create public engagement and education campaigns around this action to give the community advance notice, as well as signify all progress being made to make this possible. BE 5.4, identify opportunities for the strategic reduction of gas infrastructure within the city and develop a gas infrastructure pruning pilot program. BE 5.5, complete a low-income and affordable housing electrification pilot project in collaboration with affordable housing owners, utilities, and the community. The pilot project will ensure that there is no increase to energy bills for occupants of pilot buildings. And the Strategic Energy Plan Strategy 4.3 includes create a smart energy zone. The Strategic Energy Plan is a bold strategy with bold innovative solutions. The Smart Energy Zone creates a living lab where those solutions can be put to the test and perfected. The city has also established historical partnerships with nonprofit agencies to assist with neighborhood partnerships. We look forward to learning more about this opportunity, so feel free to reach out directly to us with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Our next caller is Sarah Sharp. You may go ahead. Your line is open. Again, Sarah Sharp, your line is open. We're not able to hear you. Please check your mute button.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Judge Perchia and Commissioner Douglas. My name is Sarah Sharp. I am the Deputy Executive Director at Central California Asthma Collaborative. We are dedicated to achieving health equity and environmental justice by empowering Central California communities through services, research, advocacy, and data-driven solutions to reduce the burden of asthma. We are highly interested in this proceeding because we believe the pilots and electrification, zonal electrification plus individual home electrification can bring both climate and indoor air quality benefits to families in our region, especially asthmatics. We have been conducting research on indoor air quality impacts from switching to electric appliances and have found significant decreases in NO2 and NOx. And we continue to do research that we will be able to publish hopefully soon. We have been as well doing deep community engagement in over a dozen communities on air pollution concerns. And this is with support from California Air Resources Board and part of AB 617. We believe many of these communities would be prime candidates for pilots because they are well established in disadvantaged communities, and they have been engaging residents and the local governments with support of community-based organizations for many years. We did submit comments as part of a coalition, statewide coalition that we are part of called DEEP. I believe more people will be commenting on that. As far as the criterion that the legislation laid out for selecting pilot communities or priority areas in disadvantaged or low-income communities that in high-temperature climate zones that disproportionately lack cooling, I wanted to mention that CCAC has been collecting data from, I will just wrap it here, but we have been collecting data from our over 6,000 asthma patients from San Joaquin Valley communities. And we find that 30 to 35% of our Medi-Cal enrolled patients do not have working HVAC systems currently. So we believe there's a bounty of a lot of communities that will be eligible, and we look forward to continuing to engage in this process. Thank you for your leadership, and we definitely support decarbonization for the many health benefits that we see. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Thank you. Next comment is from Stephen Loon with Vacaville.
Hi, yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah, I'm just calling as a regular concerned citizen. I've noticed with the flyers we've been getting is that our area is going to be part of the test program, and the rules to ensure safe and reliable gas systems in California and perform long-term gas system planning. This doesn't seem like this has anything to do with that. It seems like it's a way to get rid of our gas systems and have everybody go to electric. I recently purchased solar after doing a lot of research for about 10 years and finally coming to a conclusion that it finally made sense for me because the cost was so prohibitive. But I spent $61,000 and had 2 batteries installed, and I've been watching it while we've been doing this talk here, and we're putting 6 kilowatts back out on the grid right now. Most of the people around me all have solar. If we're putting all that out there, why don't we have enough electricity? And it does. And we're in a day today where it's going to be 100 degrees. They're asking us to conserve energy, but yet everybody's asking us to replace all of our appliances. I just don't see it to be cost effective for me. I can't afford it. And I'm reasonably comfortable in the money that we have, but not everybody in this area is. If we went up the main street here, and had everybody replace all of their gas appliances, I've heard people estimate it at about $50,000, and that's just not reasonable. And most of the things that we do on a normal basis when it comes to legal things are reasonable and customary, and this just isn't reasonable and customary to anybody, any people in the state of California. We just can't do it. I understand everybody's worried about the climate change. I'm not doing if only 10%, if we only get 10% greenhouse effect out of all of the natural gas that we use in this state, how is that going to affect the rest of the world? It just doesn't. And we have like 40 other states, and I've been traveling around the country, and if you go to the other states in this nation, you're not going to see hardly any of the other states interested in any of this. And the reason is because it's so cost prohibitive, and because of the climate, you're going to have too many problems with this whole system. So I'm against this whole thing just for that reason. I understand we have to figure out a way, but this just isn't it. We can't rip all of our gas appliances out of the houses in California and expect people to pay for them. And if we do, the state's going to pay for them. And in the end, we're going to pay for that. I think we have to find another way to do this. That's all I really got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Loon. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Brianne DeCastro with Central California Asthma Collaboration. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. My name is Brianne DeCastro. I am with Central California Asthma Collaborative, a nonprofit organization serving the San Joaquin Valley's rural and underserved communities. And we are also members of the Building Energy Equity and Power Coalition. I want to note that through various research projects, as our ED has previously stated, we found that natural gas appliances contribute to indoor air pollution and are associated with exacerbating respiratory illnesses such as asthma. I'm here today to urge the Commission to ensure that the implementation of SB 1221 is community-centered, equity-driven, and accessible. First, while SB 1221 allows for the designation of priority neighborhood decarbonization zones, it does not require that pilot projects come from these zones. This is a significant gap that should be addressed. If a neighborhood is identified as a priority due to high vulnerability or equity concerns, it should be first in line for pilot decarbonization projects, even if they do not have a scheduled pipeline replacement project. We urge the Commission to align project selection with zone designation. Second, we ask that the CPUC formally consider the criteria and communities recommended in the B Coalition's public comment letter. These reflect input from grassroots partners and identify neighborhoods that are not only vulnerable but also ready and willing to lead in this transition. Many of these communities also already have supportive local governments and trusted community organizations and are engaged in climate resilience work. We want to emphasize that these partners must be trusted organizations, those who have earned community trust through long-term presence and relationships. These are the best groups. These are the groups best equipped to ensure authentic community engagement, informed consent, and equitable project delivery. These communities, largely environmental and social justice communities, face extreme heat and cold, lack access to safe and affordable heating and cooling, and suffer from poor air quality. They are well positioned to see significant health benefits from decarbonization and electrification. Prioritizing them isn't just the equitable thing to do, but it's the smart and impactful thing to do. And lastly, I just want to raise a key accessibility issue. The maps and data shared so far are difficult for communities to use. Most people do not know what census tracts they live in. They identify by city, neighborhood, or zip code. We recommend that the utilities and the CPUC develop public lookup tool where people can enter a zip code or a city to see if they are in a disadvantaged community and whether gas infrastructure projects planned in their area. The maps are currently very confusing, and if we want meaningful participation, people need tools that make this information clear and accessible. Thank you for your time. And we look forward to working with you to ensure that SB 1221 fulfills its full potential and promise. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Edith Pastrano. Your line is open.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I'm going to be interpreting for Zenaida Gomez. Mi nombre es Zenaida Gomez. Soy miembro de ACE. Vivo en Richmond. Hello, my name is Zenaida Gomez. I am a member of ACE, Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, and I live in Richmond. Voy a testificar a favor de nuestra campaña de energía limpia y hogares saludables. And I'm here today to speak in favor of our campaign, which is Clean Energy and Healthy Home. Para que nuestro proyecto sea seleccionado para SB 1221 en apoyo de mapa de PG&E de las zonas prioritarias de Richmond. Which is part of the project to electrify our neighborhoods in Richmond. And I also want to support that map from PG&E around priority zones. En mi experiencia tengo dos hijos que sufren de mucha alergia y he aprendido mucho en esta campaña que tenemos el aire contaminado afuera, en Richmond por Chevron, pero también adentro de nuestros hogares por la contaminación del uso de gas.
Also being a resident of Richmond, we're not only being exposed to the contamination in the air and the pollution from Chevron, I also have 2 kids that suffer from health issues as well as allergies, and this is very severe. As part of this campaign, I've also learned about the contaminants indoors due to the use of gas appliances, and so that's a double contamination exposure outdoors and indoors.
Y a mí me preocupa mucho por la salud de mis hijos y por toda la comunidad de aquí de Richmond. A mí me gustaría que fuera seleccionado nuestro proyecto SB 1221 para mejorar el aire de nuestros hogares.
And I'm not only speaking here as a mother of my own children and looking out for my children's health, but I'm also speaking on behalf of my community as well. I would like to see a cleaner air for my community. So I would like to be here to be able to ask you all to select our project through SB 1221 to improve the air quality in our homes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Dan Luer. Your line is open.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. My name is Stan Luer. I'm 67 years old. I have no affiliation with any of these agencies that I've been hearing about over the last few minutes. It seems like there's certainly agendas from every side, but I'm just a regular citizen. I've lived in San Diego my whole life, and as a contractor, I've seen lots of things. I was asked to become a volunteer for the California Energy Commission's HERS program back in the 1990s. That's 30 years ago. And back then, all of the experts, all of the people that were on our committee, very smart people, all were trying to find ways of reducing electrical use in housing and increase the use of clean, affordable natural gas. And I asked the questions back then, why is it that you, as a utility, are trying to get people to save energy? And the answer was because they make more money by selling off of their peak load. And if anybody understands the generator, that means that you have a certain cost to run that generator, whether it's on your RV or a power plant. And if you've put $1 billion into that generator, you pretty much want it to run at peak capacity. And that's what they were trying to do 30 years ago. It just shocks me that the same experts, the same committees, the same Public Utilities Commission has now completely reversed their whole idea in thinking that natural gas is somehow the villain. I'm here to tell you, as someone who's 67 years old, I hate electrical appliances. As a contractor, I never recommended them to people that didn't have an opinion. And I can tell you that most people prefer to use natural gas to cook their meals. It's very simple. It's very, very hard to heat up, eggs and takes 2 minutes or 3 minutes to get your breakfast ready. You gave incentives to purchase natural gas appliances, and I find it just incredulous on the other side of this. I really strongly oppose this as someone who lives in a wildland-urban interface. I have an emergency generator. You turn off my power during high winds. How do you expect me to survive and try to put my own fires out when you turn off my natural gas? So I strongly oppose this. It's a ridiculous notion. It has no common sense. And I'd encourage you to really reconsider this whole idea. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Beth Steelig. Your line is open.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Chris Seelig, and I'm with Poder, which is an environmental justice organization based in San Francisco, and we're in support of this effort to take funds, instead of using them to replace pipelines, to use them for electrification. We want to encourage you to really think about putting these pilots in environmental justice communities and working with environmental justice communities to think about and develop and CBOs to think about and develop the implementation. There are communities where CBOs have been working pretty hard at applying equitable building decarbonization approaches to remove the negative impacts and really amplify the positive ones. And so we really encourage you to prioritize putting the pilots in those communities. In San Francisco, one of those communities is the Mission District. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for your work. We're excited about this program.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Andrea Redfield. Your line is open.
Hello, I'm Andrea Redfield, a private citizen who's a fifth-generation Southern Californian. I and my entire family are adamantly opposed to this bill and project. The science is based on proven false politicized pseudoscience, and it's a money grab project meant only to give government control of what independently was an independent industry. Solar panels are proven to heat the atmosphere and the Earth's surface temperatures and take up far too much surface area. Wind turbines deteriorate before the power they produce even covers the initial installation costs, besides ruining our topography and negatively impacting our wildlife. Lithium battery plants negatively impact our environment in countless ways, especially in a fire-prone coastal state. Improve the transmission ability prior to any of these projects being implemented, then put them far, far away from any inhabited areas first. Then, and if and when, another efficient power source is discovered, let us live with it provenly, efficiently energy sources versus this far too soon and far too false electrification, removing our natural gas. I'm sure you've noticed, as I have, the only speakers on this call in support stand to monetarily benefit. Do not make life in California even more expensive and difficult to live in and work. We must immediately stop this sweeping bill and decarbonization program mandates. Allow us choice. Competition always makes it better for everyone. We say save our oil and natural gas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Redfield. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Ray Joseph. Your line is open.
Yes, hello. All electric is a national security risk. California is a border state and must be held to a higher standard to protect California and America. An electric grid is easily taken down by human error, nature, hackers, or war. China is building weapons to take down electric grids. China can turn off solar inverters and shut off the solar power. And our electric grid can easily go down if we don't have a diverse supply of energy. Within days we wouldn't be able to drive, heat, or cook. We could easily be attacked and not be able to defend ourselves. So it's critical to have a diverse supply and use of energy. Lake Arrowhead a few years ago got snowed in, had no electricity, and no cell coverage. If they didn't have natural gas for fireplaces, for stoves, to run a car, they would have died because they were stuck for 2 weeks. My furnace broke in my house years ago, and I had to do some work on the house before I could replace it. If I didn't have a fireplace, I would have froze. It's very simple. And some of these things make no sense. For example, the most energy-efficient electric dryer is called a heat pump dryer. It takes 5 hours to dry a load of laundry. Who wants that? Nobody. 37% of electricity in California comes from natural gas. They use that in the power plants to create electricity. It makes no sense to burn gas in a power plant to turn it into electricity to heat something over here. It makes zero sense to do that. It's so inefficient. Edison wants to take gas away from consumers, and so it's cheaper for them to buy it and charge us a super premium for electricity. I asked my electrician what it costs to remove a solar panel and replace the exact same solar panel, not a new one. He says it's $1,000 a panel. So if you have to replace your roof, it's going to cost you a fortune to remove your panels, re-roof your house, and put the electric panels back. It's absolutely ridiculous. Solar power is also making electricity more expensive because during the day, the power plants aren't operating as much because of the solar energy. And so therefore, they have to amortize the cost of those power plants across the 4 to 9 o'clock hours. So I strongly, strongly oppose this decarbonization for national security reasons. We need to protect ourselves from nature, from war, and that sort. It's very, very critical to have consistent supply of energy for our health and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Troy Jackson. Your line is open.
Yes, hello. My name is Troy Jackson. I'm here in Bakersfield. 69 years old. Been disabled since I was 61. And on unlimited income. And some of these people that are opposed to this talk a lot of truth. My plan was to work till I was 67 and then retire. And I wasn't able to do that. So if I was to have to retrofit my house, it costs anywhere from $30,000 to $65,000, what some of these people are talking about. And I have looked into solar. People across the street from me put in a solar system and re-roofed their house, and it cost them $65,000 to put in the solar. The solar panels, from what I read, to replace them and to take care of or dispose of the panels, all the stuff that's inside of them, from what I read, is hazardous waste. Air turbines, like one gentleman said that the air turbines are, they give up. They have to be replaced before they can even put out the money that what it costs to install one. The blades that are on these things have to be buried in somewhere in the United States where nobody's living, because they can't be broke down from the material that they're made out of and recycled. I can't afford to do $65,000 for solar. I also cannot afford if it's a minimum of $30,000 to do my house. I don't have it. I just barely survive. And, you know, here in Bakersfield, there are a lot of farm workers. Some of them have bought houses when the houses were cheap, and some of them are renting. I was fortunate enough to get my house, and it's paid for just before I was disabled. And I don't know there's a lot of seniors in this town. I don't know of any of them that could be able to do this. Now, my boss could have, because he makes $4 or $5 million every year. But me, no, I'm a working man. There's a lot of working people in this town. And talking about infrastructure, a lot of people we don't have the infrastructure to go electric. And what was it, last year? I had an email, or the year before, they was talking. I get emails from Newsom because he's doing the stuff, and he asked for people to not charge their electrical cars because it was so hot.
Mr. Jackson, we're allocating all speakers 2 minutes, and so it's over 2 minutes. We want to make sure that we give everyone a chance to speak.
I understand that, but even the governor says that we don't have the infrastructure for the electric. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Edgar Peraza. Your line is open.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Edgar Barraza, and I'm with Physicians for Social Responsibility Los Angeles, a public health organization working at the intersections of public health and energy equity. I want to start off with sharing support for zonal building decarbonization and SB 1221 and the benefits it's able to provide. The communities Physicians for Social Responsibility Los Angeles advocates for are majority renters, low-income communities who are exposed to cumulative sources of pollution and often face high levels of energy insecurity. Given these issues, PSRLA recommends the CPUC to consider non-energy benefits when evaluating the cost-effectiveness of gas decommissioning and electrifying neighborhoods. By including non-energy benefits criteria in project selection, the CPUC will be able to maximize public dollars by improving indoor air quality and respiratory health in extremely polluted areas and providing energy-efficient technologies to communities who are energy burdened. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker, please.
And are you ready for the next speaker?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. That comes from Terry Murray. Your line is open.
Thank you for taking the call. I have to say just a quick reaction is that I'm surprised at how many paid advocates and lobbyists have been on the line because they aren't affected. They're not paying out of pocket for all the things that are aspirationally being planned here. I oppose the decarbonization plan. I live in a Sacramento neighborhood. Most of the homes, hundreds, that were built in the 1920s through the 1940s. And we don't have time for a debate about the science of decarbonization. So whether I'm for it or against it, let's take that off the table. Let's talk about cost. I agree with the other homeowners that have been on the call that it's about the cost. We're trying to drive the demand for electricity when we don't have an infrastructure in place to supply it. So we're trying to cut off the supply of reliable, affordable energy today and not invest in upgrading that infrastructure and to transfer those costs to upgrading the electrical. Well, that is coming out of our pockets. And the cost for my specific home with my HVAC gas, my kitchen stove is gas, my flash water heater, which is efficient, is gas, and my clothes dryer is gas. So in my home, I will not only have to upgrade my electrical panel, breakers, wiring to support that, but once I start utilizing those, my demand goes up and the infrastructure in our neighborhood will not supply it. My gas comes from PG&E. My electrical comes from SMUD. So if PG&E takes away the gas, who's supplying my electrical? SMUD? Well, there's no incentive for them not to continue to raise the cost as well. So this is an aspirational, out of sync. Once the electrical grid is in place and can support the demand that you're projecting upon us, and I can get my $50,000 that I will have to spend to comply back in free electricity, and at that point, once we're break even, then fine, let's go. But you need to put the infrastructure in place before you decommission the gas. And I guess that's my time. But and last, the folks that are for this on the call are paid either lobbyists, nonprofits, or advocates that are getting paid for their opinions. The homeowners that are taking on the burden of this and that will be impacted by this are not. This is coming out of our pockets that will affect our lives. We're all for a cleaner environment and a better future, but you're putting the cart before the horse. Once the electrical grid's in place and the costs are down, in terms of the cost of electricity, fine, I'm in. But until that point, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Murray. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Robert Funderhook, with biologist with Bologna Wetlands. Your line is open.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Yes, I'm an environmental scientist. My name is Robert Jan Funderhook, and environmental biologist, and in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles County, gas is stored underground before it goes to customers. That storage of the gas underground is not good. You'll notice I'm not using an adjective. I think we should just say gas or use a neutral term, like I'm from Oklahoma and Midwest, and it's stored underground in Los Angeles County in several locations. Porter Ranch, Aliso area, and Bayona Wetlands at the Playa del Rey in the city of Los Angeles. The storage of the gas results in 50% moving by a scientific process called gas migration and capillary action, because it's buoyant and goes into the atmosphere. One of the gas plants in Playa del Rey loses more than 50% of the methane gas brought there from the Midwest. It never reaches a customer. And that's okay with the gas company, Sempra, SoCal Gas, because their customers primarily are Edison and Chevron. The Chevron refinery claims to use the gas to run their, instead of using diesel generators, they're using gas generators, and they say they're cleaning the air, but they're not. They're actually contaminating the air and affecting other things too, like the climate. In Arizona, in Nevada, and in San Diego, they don't store gas. Those are three areas bordering the Los Angeles, Southern California region. We need to discontinue storing gas, and that's one of the first ways to phase out how much gas we're using, because we're losing 50% of the gas that comes here in pipelines from the Midwest. Secondly, Edison, Chevron, and Torrance refineries, they're not really interested in cleaning the air. They're just interested in getting the gas. The Playa del Rey area gas field has had several blowouts that have injured people and damaged people's homes. The Playa del Rey gas plant is on top of a marsh and a sand dune and coastal bluff habitat, and if we close that plant down and not store gas anymore, we will then have more acreage to add to the Bayona Wetland State Ecological Reserve, which is a wetland and has a tidal creek passing through the gas company plant. And there's light pollution from all night long with bright lights at the gas company plant. That's happening, and I just wanted to mention also that it's contaminated, and there are more than 100 chemicals in gas, and much of the gas that's stored ends up poisonous in a sludge, and the poisoned gas has to be brought to a dedicated U.S. toxic storage place in the Central Valley in farmland country, contaminating the water supply for farmers and farm workers. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Logan Babcock. Your line is open.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. My name is Logan Babcock. I'm calling from the Central California coast. As a Santa Barbara resident, I want to echo what Christian Hoffman said earlier. He's a staff member on the city sustainability team, and this proposed legislation and the pilot programs support the climate goals set up by City of Santa Barbara. I think that a lot of the comments on this call have been really disheartening to hear, and I'd like to just say for myself, it seems like they're misdirected residents. I think that if gas was cheaper than electricity, then it would be a lot less of a hurdle for folks to buy into this program. So what I'd like to see CPUC do when moving forward in establishing policies and processes for this is making sure that none of the costs are transferred onto residents, especially on their electricity bills. SCE has raised their rates 26% in the past 3 years. SoCal Gas has set record profits in the past 3 years. These are for-profit companies providing us with utilities that we need to live, which has been stated by a couple of callers as well. So I'd like CPUC to really embrace the regulatory aspect of your ability, essentially, and crack down on rates and make sure that there's no tucking of costs from this into rates paid for by residents. I'd also like to see in the pilot communities that are chosen for this awesome project, they could have electricity bills offset for the duration of the program or for years thereafter, covered costs for any conversions needed, and any extra compensations or mitigations that would help community buy-in for the project. I think those would all go a long way in turning community favor and seeing the value in this. I also want to say I work in the city of Ventura, and on the west side there is a natural gas compressor station from SoCalGas. I don't see it listed on the maps provided for this project, but it's a large piece of gas infrastructure, and that's a disadvantaged area that has a long history of gas infrastructure and a lot of impacts. I see that's my time, so I would just like to again express support and thanks for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Scott McLaughlin. Your line is open.
Hi, this is Scott. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Scott McLaughlin. I am a homeowner living in a condominium in San Diego in University City. Thank you for taking my call. I am surprised how many supporters of this initiative seem to be financially incentivized to be supporters. I want to be clear that I am in opposition to this initiative for electrification. I do support environmentally friendly initiatives when they are economically viable, based on some facts and not narratives. I did assess installing solar in my home, but the CPUC's own net metering 3.0 rules made it cost prohibitive, and it's a good example of how the CPUC can make green solutions unaffordable to the public. The CPUC creates policies and is not accountable to the public. Today's meeting gives a perception that they really desire input from the public, but I feel like this is misleading, where the CPUC actually represents the interests of the electric companies, especially smaller producers who have risk of customers shifting or staying in natural gas or shifting to solar. Natural gas has been publicized in the past as being effective and clean alternative for us, and we were taught that natural gas is clean, affordable, and abundant, as I grew up hearing that. But people leading this initiative seem to have changed the narrative, shifting it to calling it fossil gas now instead of natural gas, and tying it to fossil fuels. And I feel like this is misleading and a spin on science that's incorrect with figures, and people are looking for some of the numbers to justify one path but fail to promote the other path of information. The proposed transition is also a financial burden to homeowners and low-income families, very inconvenient around the entire infrastructure change that's required. I just want to thank you for an opportunity to share and just revalidate again that I am opposed to this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Jeff Moore. Your line is open.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for taking my call and giving me the opportunity to speak today. I am a private citizen homeowner in Vista, California. I am opposed to this measure for many of the reasons espoused by prior speakers. Specifically, on my part, California's atmospheric contributions to the Earth's atmosphere are less or perhaps as much as 1%. Therefore, all of these green measures, while well-intentioned, are ineffective and have no real impact on global atmosphere. Electricity in the United States is expensive. In California, it's over 66% more expensive than the rest of the country. Why? Because of our policies. This policy magnifies that by diminishing supply while increasing demand. It shifts us to be dependent on electric only, primarily, and therefore is creating higher costs. In the summer months, our grid is so overtaxed in California that we are forced to buy between 1/5 up to 1/3 of our electrical needs from other states and Mexico because we can't make enough electricity right now. And then finally, the costs of this that are imposed on homeowners are exorbitant to switch over from natural gas to electrical appliances. And I humbly suggest if the state pushes this, for those of us homeowners who vote against this and nonetheless are compelled to do it because 2/3 of your neighbors vote in favor, I believe this constitutes an unconstitutional taking of property rights and value by the state of California, and thus warrants a class action lawsuit under the legal theory of inverse condemnation. So again, I'm adamantly opposed to this, and I thank you for your time. Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Operator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Linda Larson. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Larson. I am a fixed income retiree. I personally live in Silicon Valley. However, I own a rental property on the Central California coast. This is an older home, single-family home. It has a gas water heater, a gas stove, a gas oven, and a gas furnace. It has been rented by this guy for at least 7 years, and if this goes through, I will have to evict him in consultation with my real estate attorney. We've already discussed this, because I will need to put in all new service panels and all new wiring, and the expense at doing that, and then I can't raise the rent significantly, what to do with, but it won't be rented, so he's out of a home. This will happen to basically anybody that has rental property. They will have to evict their tenants in order to do upgrades to comply with this. And there's no way I could afford to do it. So the house goes empty. Second point, if you really want to get the maximum bang for your buck, don't start with the rural areas, start with the urban areas. I suggest that you start with the city of San Diego, the city of Los Angeles. I've heard a lot of people in Santa Barbara supporting it. Add them in there too. San Jose, San Francisco, Sacramento. Start there. Start by taking and turning off their natural gas. Have them figure out how to hire electricians. I am in Silicon Valley, so I could possibly get affected by this, which means my gas stove, my gas water heater, and my gas furnace would go bye-bye. But at least you can start with, I suggest you start with the biggest bang for your buck. Go to the areas, the big urban areas, and start by turning their gas off. The last thing I want to say, and I do have a very short period of time, is I installed solar panels on my home in Silicon Valley a number of years ago. I was told those solar panels were warranted for 20 years. They died in 9. The manufacturer told me, oh, gee, we're really sorry they only lasted 9 years. Oh, by the way, you can put in a whole new system. So if you think your solar panels are going to last 20 years, people, they're not. Mine didn't. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker.
Next speaker is Cherie Gree. Your line is open.
Thank you so much. I am just a citizen and a resident in Los Angeles County. And to the previous speaker, please don't let them start in Los Angeles County either. I just wanted to say that I oppose the bill 1221. Although I truly believe in global warming, I also feel that citizens should have a right to choose. We should be able to come to a plan where we can either choose to keep the gas, like myself, and then others who would prefer to have solar energy, they can do so. I feel like it shouldn't be a dictator setup where we are forced to go one way or the other. In my opinion, natural gas infrastructure is needed in California to support the state's energy reliability, especially during peak demand periods and transitional phases as it moves toward cleaner energy sources. While California is rapidly expanding renewable energy such as solar and wind, these sources are intermittent and currently lack sufficient large-scale storage to fully meet demand at all times. Natural gas serves as a flexible, quick-response backup that helps maintain grid stability and prevents blackouts. Additionally, many industries in residential areas still rely on natural gas for heating, cooking, and industrial processes, making continued infrastructure essential during the gradual transition to decarbonize energy systems. So I come to you today just asking for there to be a middle ground, where those who would love to keep gas like myself, we can, and those who would like to go over to a solar, more energy sufficient plan, they can do so as well. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Michelle Griffith with Whittier. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. My name is Michelle Griffith. I'm from Whittier, and I'm a citizen. I'm against AB 1221. Reliability matters. So solar doesn't work when the sun doesn't work, and even if you have the battery packs, it's that simple. Gas is reliable, 24/7. It provides a baseload power that we can count on. Blackouts in California and Texas have proven the risk of over-reliance on an intermittent energy system. Solar panels, storage, the conversion systems are very expensive. These mandates increase electricity bills, which are already high, taxes, utility rates, especially for the middle and lower income households. We already have clean burning natural gas that's affordable and efficient. The U.S. natural gas supports American jobs, and it keeps the energy local. Most solar panel components are made in China, and so why would we trade foreign dependency for another? Mining for solar components destroys ecosystems and uses child labor in some countries. Solar panels are difficult to recycle and become toxic waste at the end of their life cycle. So let's stop pretending that solar is 100% clean. A balanced energy mix of gas, solar, nuclear, and hydrogen is smarter, more sustainable. Energy decisions should be made by engineers and economists, not politicians pushing ideology or their own agendas, such as Newsom, how he protected PG&E with AB 1054. We need choice, not coercion. Progress, not propaganda. So, yes, I'm for innovation, but not at the expense of truth, affordability, and the freedom of choice. Reliable energy shouldn't be political. It should be practical. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Jeff Shelton. Your line is open.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Shelton. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Go ahead
I would
with
like
your comment.
well, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Sheldon. I'm a concerned California resident and utility customer. I oppose the proposed gas decarbonization zones under SB 1221 and urge you to slow this process down before further damage is done. The push to eliminate natural gas under the banner of decarbonization is built on the false premise that carbon dioxide is a pollutant. CO2 is a natural and essential part of life, used by plants, trees, and crops. Labeling it as harmful has become a political tool, giving regulatory bodies a blank check to redesign society, not to protect us, but to control us. These so-called zero-emission alternatives threaten to limit our energy options, erode our property rights, and reduce energy reliability. Once neighborhoods are labeled as priority decarbonization zones, residents will be pressured, voluntarily or not, into costly electric retrofits and dependence on a single energy source with no guarantee of affordability or reliability. We must also recognize that this is not an isolated state program. It aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda, which openly seeks to centralize control over resources and energy, eroding national sovereignty in the name of climate action. By accepting these measures, we risk surrendering local and personal decision-making to international policies that do not prioritize the well-being of Californians. Where is the cost-benefit analysis? Where is the transparency? And who will be accountable if these programs drive up energy bills, strain the grid, and harm communities they claim to protect? I urge this Commission to reject fear-based climate narratives and to preserve reliable energy, property rights, and the freedom of Californians to choose how they heat and power their homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Sue Bennett. Your line is open. Sue Bennett dropped. Up next is Leanne Campos. Your line is open.
About the price of this. I also have some safety concerns about electrifying California.
I'm sorry.
So, hello?
Yeah, this is the court reporter.
Yes.
I did not hear you at the beginning. Can you restart? I didn't get any of that. There was a disconnect on the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Leanne Campos. I'm from Simi Valley, California. And I wanted to call in to voice my concerns about electrification. And my concerns are mainly in that a lot of people who have natural gas also have natural gas generators. And these generators are used a lot of times because California has rolling blackouts and brownouts. I know me personally, I've experienced blackouts for 3 days, sometimes even longer. And a lot of times we get natural gas generators, which are seamless in order to help sustain our medical equipment or life-saving medication that people keep in refrigerators. And so my biggest concern with this bill is that it doesn't take into account that diversification of where we get our electricity for each person can greatly be needed. So if people need electricity 24/7 and there is a blackout or something, then basically they could be in a lot of trouble medically. So that's kind of just my concern, is that I oppose this bill because I think that it could honestly be dangerous for a lot of people if they don't have access to basically seamless energy use. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. Operator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Jane Velez Mitchell with Unchained TV. Your line is open.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I have lived in Marina Del Rey for 20 years, and my condo is 100% electric. I have no gas. I cook food very rapidly. Sometimes I wish I didn't cook so rapidly. In other words, my electric stove works just fine. Everything in my apartment works just fine, and there is no natural gas involved. And I am not being paid by anybody, okay? I am speaking as a resident. And I can also tell you that I have a couple of generators, and I haven't had to use them. But if I did, I would love to have solar panels, because that would give me the independence. We do have sun here in California, so the solar panels would work. And actually, I would love to have solar panels attached to my condo and not have to worry about the gas bill. Additionally, the Aliso Canyon blowout in 2015 at the Aliso Canyon gas facility run by SoCal Gas was one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history and released an extraordinary amount of methane. And we've got another problem right near where I live, which is the SoCal Gas underground gas storage facility in Playa del Rey underneath the Bayona Wetlands Ecological Reserve. And we have the gas company trying to do a lot of work in an area that is an ecological reserve. It is supposed to be there for the wildlife. And we have reduced wildlife on this planet to 4% of mammal biomass. And it's dropping. And when we get to zero, we're going to have an ecological calamity on our hands because there is a reason for wildlife. And a lot of our food depends on pollination. So I firmly believe we need to get rid of these underground gas storage facilities that leak methane, and we need to move. It's the 21st century. I'm sure when we went from horse-drawn carriages to cars, people had a lot of complaints and a lot of fears. Okay, I'm sure when we went from ice boxes to refrigerators, people had a lot of complaints and a lot of fears. But I can tell you that those fears are groundless. I have been living this lifestyle for 20 years and have never experienced as much as not being able to make a cup of coffee in all that time. So let's, get back to planet Earth, and the conspiracy theories and the outlandish fears of people, I sympathize with them, but they're unwarranted. I can tell you I've lived on electrical, and it's just fine, and I would love to have solar panels. Thank you so much. And let's close the Bayona Wetland SoCal gas facility. Shut it down.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Ryan Lopez. Your line is open.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Okay. Well, I thank you for allowing this public comment and taking my call. To be transparent, I've been working for Southern California Gas for the past 20 years. Started as a meter reader, and now I'm in the going to work my way up. And I'm not calling on behalf of the company. I'm calling as a customer and a citizen of Southern California for 38 years. I've lived in various counties. I lived in San Gabriel Valley, LA County, Orange County, and now San Bernardino County. And my experience, I've lived with electric and gas stove, and I mean, frankly, it's just a lot easier to cook with the natural gas appliances. And I'm not really concerned about losing my job for the past 20 years, losing a pension, losing stocks and the valuation of the company. I was raised by a father and a grandfather who taught me to be resourceful and have grit. And so not concerned about that. My concern is that I lived in a residential home. I lived in an apartment, lived in a condo, and as an asthmatic, my asthma wasn't triggered by gas appliances. It was triggered by seasonal allergies or by certain animals. And living in various homes, one thing I recognize is the poor ventilation. Poor ventilation in restrooms, poor ventilation in kitchens, especially if you live in an apartment. Poor ventilation can trigger mold. And so that is a concern for building and structures. And lastly, a lot of the power that generators is natural gas and large companies. So I do appreciate the time. And again, I do not agree with SB 1221. I think it is there's a common ground to using solar panels, and if we do put homes in various locations, solar panels, and I'm holding this phone, my iPhone, and I'm 3 years old, and it's hot. I'm not sure if there's any studies on the cancer that is potentially you can receive by solar panels and vehicles. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker.
Next speaker is Tracy Garcia. Your line is open.
Hello. My name is Tracy Garcia. I am from Southern California in the Empire area, and I'm just a average middle-class person. And I am totally opposed to this plan because to me it makes literally no sense on several levels. Number one, it's going to be not affordable for the middle class. The lower classes, they get a lot of subsidies, and we have like the care plan and this and that, different things. But the middle class, this is going to kill them. Electricity is so many times more expensive than natural gas that if we now add the appliances that are natural gas now to our electric bill, I can't see how it's going to be affordable. In my area alone, most of the houses, when I speak to my friends and neighbors, their electric bill in the summer is over $1,000, which seems obscene to me. When it's 100, 110, you got to have your air conditioning running. So you really don't have any choice. So now we're going to add cooking, heating, and we're going to have to absorb the expense of having to change out all our appliances. Like others have said, I really don't have anything new to say, but I just want to give my 2 cents. That's going to cost a fortune. I have so many gas things going on. It's to retrofit everything. I don't even want to ask how much it's going to be. And we're getting ready to retire, so now the thought of this as being an additional bill is, I don't know. It's just frustrating. And another big thing is there's no infrastructure, again, as other people have said, to support a totally electrical system. I mean, it doesn't support what we're doing now. And there's my bell. So the last thing I want to say is that we are such a small percentage of the global carbonization, climate problems and all that putting the burden on Californians does not even make sense because it does nothing for climate change. So the whole thing makes no sense. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next caller, please.
Next caller is Sue Bennett. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you so much. As a concerned citizen and advocate for both environmental progress and community well-being, I urge California policymakers to reconsider the push for a wholesale transition from natural gas to full electrification for residential and commercial consumers. The goal of reducing carbon emissions is not only commendable, it is essential, but the path we choose must be one of prudence, pragmatism, and protection for both our people and our environment. We cannot afford to leap before we look. A transition of this magnitude across the state, as vast and diverse as California, faces significant structural hurdles, inadequate infrastructure, surging costs, and an increasingly fragile power grid that is already strained by extreme heat events, wildfire threats, and aging transmission systems. The Eaton Fire in January 2025, which devastated over 14,000 acres and destroyed more than 9,000 structures in and around Altadena, is a painful reminder of just how vulnerable our electrical system has become. Allegedly sparked by high-tension power lines during Santa Ana wind events, this disaster underscores the dangers of expanding dependence on a grid that is already overstressed. And then there is the question of cost, a burden already felt across California households. Working-class families, seniors, and fixed incomes, and residents of underserved communities are bearing the brunt of historic energy price hikes. Replacing natural gas with electric systems across homes, small businesses, and public buildings doesn't just mean swapping appliances. It means retrofitting, rewiring, and in some cases rebuilding aging infrastructure from the inside out. These are not trivial expenses, and with the state and local budgets under pressure, this kind of mandate risks deepening inequality without guaranteeing measurable climate returns. Let us not ignore the role of natural gas currently plays. It supplies nearly 90% of heating in California homes, provides dispatchable energy during winter surges, and supports vital sectors of our economy. Eliminating this infrastructure before we fully deployed scalable, reliable alternatives is not innovation, it's imbalance. Instead, we should modernize and diversify the energy systems already in place, prioritize safety, efficiency upgrades to existing natural gas pipelines, invest in decentralized renewable generation, rooftop solar, battery storage, and microgrids that ease pressure on the transmission network and strengthen local resilience. Accelerate the expansion of wind, solar, and geothermal where conditions and science allow. These are actionable, meaningful steps that reduce emissions without compromising energy security or affordability. I understand my bell has rung, but this seems like a project where we are stepping over dollars to pick up dimes, and I urge this commission to work smarter, not harder. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Edith Pastrano. Your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Edith Pastrano. I'm an ACE member, and I'm here to testify for support for Richmond campaign to be selected as a project for SB 1221. And I'm in support of the PG&E map of the priority zones in Richmond. I lived in Richmond all my life and have experienced multiple Chevron flares that have affected thousands and thousands of community members due to the refinery being literally right here. And so I just want to say that ACE, the Contra Costa Building Trade Council and our allies are seeking to demonstrate a model for investing in block level energy upgrades that electrify homes and increase the quality of sustainability of the building stock while also creating good local union jobs, protecting tenants, and increasing community support for clean energy transition. So with this coalition, we have been organizing our community to electrify 3 to 4 full blocks of homes so that we can get off of the gas. Our campaign is called the Richmond Clean Energy and Healthy Homes Campaign. This project is piloting a new model for decarbonization that is cost-effective, time-efficient, and it has a wide community support. Our campaign goal is to fully electrify 40 to 80 homes or 2 to 4 blocks across the PG&E territory of the Iron Triangle here in Richmond, Coronado, and Santa Fe neighborhoods in the city of Richmond at zero cost to the residents. So this project prioritizes working class communities with high energy burdens who have for generations lived with negative health impacts, just being here in Refinery Town, like myself. And so the project plans to do energy efficiency, so storage and electrification, paired with environmental health improvements like lead paint and mold remediation. We seek the support of the California Public Utilities Commission to use this project as a shovel-ready pilot mandated by SB 1221. The goal would be to run a pilot that can help inform and develop many future projects to come. And we are pleased that PG&E priority zones map include these areas of Richmond that need support for improving housing. These are areas that we're already working on for our campaign, and we hope to continue working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Operator, next speaker, please.
There are no further speakers at this time.
Thank you, Operator, and thank you to everyone who gave us your time and offered comments today. That concludes all the speakers who signed up to speak. Again, if you would like to provide additional comments, you may submit written comments on the docket card for this proceeding, which can be found on the Commission's website at appuc.cpuc.ca/C/R2409012. For assistance with providing additional comments, please contact the Commission's Public Advisor's Office at public.advisor@cpuc.ca.gov. I now invite Commissioner Douglas to offer some closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Judge Perchia. I just wanted to take a moment and thank all of the speakers for taking time out of your day to share your comments with us. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Douglas. And I would like to also invite Commissioner Houck to offer some closing remarks.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to join in my thanks to all of the members of the public that participated in the public participation hearing today. It's important for us to hear from the public on the matters that we're resolving. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Houck. Well, I just want to, Commissioner Houck, I just want to invite you to mute your WebEx. Thank you. On behalf of ourselves and all the commissioners, we want to thank everyone for your participation here today. We appreciate that you took the time out of your day to participate in this proceeding with us and offered your comments. We also want to thank everyone who helped with this hearing. We could not have accomplished this without the help of our court reporters and all the staff at the Public Advisor's Office. Thank you, everyone, for the help. We personally appreciate all your efforts. Once again, you may submit written comments on the docket card for this proceeding at any time by going to the following website, appuc.c.gov/c/R2409012. That concludes this afternoon's CPH for Rulemaking 2409012. We are adjourned and off the record. Thank you.